Welcome to the Two Car Guys podcast. We are here on Rant Street, ready to talk about some Dodge stuff. Adam,
Man, I'm telling you,
goodness,
you and I were
man.
talking about this episode right before this, and dude, I'm just irritated.
Yeah, like
And
where are they going? Like,
okay,
why?
so let's get everybody caught up real quick, right?
Yeah,
So you're talking about a company that was known for putting Viper V10 engines in trucks, putting V8 engines into Dodge Dakotas in the Dodge
yeah.
Dakota RT, right? They have put the Hellcat, the Demon engine, the Elephant engine, right? In
They've come
all
up
these
with some
different
really,
vehicles.
really cool stuff, man.
They really have. And whether you're a Dodge fan or you're not a Dodge fan, you have to admit that for the past couple decades, they have been the muscle car
Yeah,
company,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, when everybody else was, putting hybrid motors and, turbo V6s in cars, they were thumbing their nose at it and putting in supercharged high output V8s,
Dude,
right?
let's just go back 3 years. 3 years ago, if somebody had walked up to you and said, "Hey, man, believe it or not, Dodge is going to kill their best-selling performance vehicles. They're
I'd have
going to
been like, no
kill
way.
everything from basically the whole SRT program's gone. They killed the Viper. They killed all these other things that were just cool, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and now it's like, and even then they were like teasing everybody with like this like weird like you remember the SRT car? I don't remember what it was called, but it was like the SRT or something like that, the X or something like that. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
I
And they were
remember that.
teasing that, and it was like a mid-engine like supercar thing, and I was like, dude, that'd be sick if they just make the Viper out of that. And
It would
here
be.
we are, and they're full on electric, like
So
conversion over here.
it doesn't make any sense to me. And you shared the video with me. I went back and watched the full video, by the
Oh,
way,
it's horrible.
which is
It's so bad.
okay. You know when somebody doesn't believe what they're doing and they like they're like overexcited about it,
Yeah,
you know? So for those of you who haven't seen it, the
dude.
video is all about the current now, I guess he's president of Dodge, right?
Right. Well, it's Tim Kanuskis,
Okay.
and
So
he's the head of marketing for Dodge.
gotcha. So he goes
And
back in time
yeah,
and comes across the Dodge brothers,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and
And
it's all
basically he's trying
horrible.
to explain to them about this new car that's coming out and they need to keep doing what they're doing because they're going to basically, buck the system
Right.
and be, the
It's
outsiders
so
they always
cringe.
were.
Holy ham-tramming. What is that, and who the hell are you?
Whoa, whoa, calm down, guys. I'm on your side. You can put down those wrenches. I'm on your team. It's okay. Damn, it wasn't easy getting here, and I don't have a lot of time. So here's the deal. You don't realize it yet, but you're at an extremely important decision point in your lives. Do you want to keep working for the system, or do you want to take on the system? Well, I know what we need you to do, and I'm here to make sure you see why. Because we can't afford for you to back down. You're just a couple of incredibly ballsy moves away from ensuring your legacy and making history. And this is your future. I know it sounds crazy, and I swear to you, I haven't been drinking.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest commercial, it's the weirdest promo video I've ever seen in my life.
And it's
It's
so
it's
cringy.
crazy long. It's extremely cringy.
It's so cringy.
It's extremely cringy.
So
And then it goes into the whole thing about the car.
yeah,
And so for those of you who don't know, they killed the Challenger. The
yeah,
Challenger's dead. They only have the Charger.
yeah.
And they make it in a 2-door and a 4-door. Get out of here. Like I can't even
Yeah.
right now. I can't.
It's so bad, dude. And not to mention their overall general direction of that company. When COVID happened, instead of, biting the bullet, maybe taking some options out of trucks and stuff like that, they just raised the price of everything
Yeah.
like exponentially. And now they're struggling and they still have those high prices. They're doing like 20 grand off of cars. Doesn't
They
matter.
are.
It's not worth it.
But John,
Not back to norm.
you talk about them struggling. I challenge people that are listening to this, anybody, drive past a Dodge or Jeep dealership. Look how many cars they have on hand.
Dude,
much more than Nissan, Chevrolet, Ford. It's unreal.
And it sucks too. You know what I mean? Like I bought Jessica a Charger, we bought a Charger. She bought it. But nonetheless, we bought a Dodge Charger right when we were just dating. And that car, it was a Hemi, it was a 5.7, but it was a RT road and track. Yep. And you go up there and you see the Hellcat sitting out there and you see all this and you're like, man, this is super cool. Then the TRX comes along and I'm like, cool, that's where I'm headed. And then now I'm looking at like the quality and stuff and it's not there, man. The prices are crazy.
It just doesn't make any sense. But back to the whole like Charger Challenger thing, right? So you're talking about a car that had so many different versions. You had the Rumblebee, the Scat Pack, the Daytona, the Hellcat, the Hellcat Red Eye, the Demon, it was the
most
recent
Demon, four-door Mustang, basically. You know what I mean? Like that's what it was.
I mean, yes, right. So, and then, but then you had, the same versions you had on the Challenger, you had on the Charger, right? And to your point about the quality is, they just focused on horsepower, right? Yeah. The infotainment system wasn't the best. The quality interior felt very plasticky and was not the greatest, right? And they are one of the easiest cars to steal.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
I saw a thing the other day that said you're 120% higher than any other car manufacturer if you own a Dodge product to get stolen.
Yeah. I don't doubt it.
I'm like, why are my insurance rates higher? Well, I have Dodge on my, my insurance.
I don't doubt it, man. But so going back to the video, right? So you've got they're announcing in the video, it's like they're trying to hype up the Dodge brothers, trying to basically say, hey, we're not tarnishing your name. We're taking it in a new direction. We're going to keep the soul of the car, of the muscle car. We're going to keep the soul of the bad boys that you guys made.
Yeah.
And again, it's crazy cringy, but then they start to show the vehicles. I feel like it's a watered down car. It looks like a fancy Toyota Camry or something. It's not, it doesn't have the soul of the Challenger and the Charger. It doesn't look like a retro version of a muscle car.
I'll say the body style is decent. In comparison to other electric cars out there.
In comparison to other electric cars, but that's a low freaking bar. Man, think about electric cars. Most of them look like warmed over jelly beans. Like they're not, it's not an exciting car. Most people, unless you're in the $1 million range, most people aren't buying electric cars going, man, this car's sexy. This car's awesome. This car looks amazing. This car right here looks amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Sitting in traffic, sitting at the end of the driveway.
Doesn't
that
matter.
car looks amazing, right?
Absolutely.
The Tesla is not a great car to look at. We all know that. All these electric vehicles that have come out with, the majority of them aren't even interesting to look at. They're just, it's like that car.
Yeah.
There goes that car.
Right. So, in the electric field, I actually just watched a video right before this. That Hyundai just released like their N series car or something like that. And the review is actually really good. Like it's like a hot hatch in electric. It still makes all the same noises. You can redline it and it like bounces off the red limiter and all this stuff. You can change the different settings and stuff. Would it be a fun, cool like change? Maybe. Is it what I'm going to choose if I have the option to truly bang a car off the rev limiter? No.
And that's the thing, right? So one of the big focuses on the Dodge video was the fact that it has this exhaust on the back that's essentially a loudspeaker.
Yeah.
Right. And it said that it screams like, like some of their, competitors. And I'm like, but why?
Yeah.
Why? Right. That's like having,
it's not the full package, man.
No, it's fake.
It's not the full package.
It's fake, right?
Yeah.
It's a fake sound. It's a fake car. I've said this before, if you're gonna be electric, be electric, right?
Yeah.
When I don't know if I told you this. Yeah, right. I don't know if I told you this story 2 years ago when I was at SEMA. one of the big things, and Borla does it.
Yeah.
One of the big things is exhaust for electric vehicles.
No, bro.
No, I'm being serious.
Don't believe this.
You can look it up. I
I'm
have
not
it.
looking-
I have pictures.
Look, this is
of it,
clickbait.
right?
Don't believe him. Don't search that.
Borla is making exhaust for electric vehicles. In fact, there was a company there that makes exhaust for specifically for Teslas, and it's just a speaker, but it's tied into the OBD2 port. So when you rev the engine, it makes rev noises, right? And the Borla display at SEMA had the new Mustang Mach-E, right?
Dude.
So they had the Mach-E and had the exhaust on it, and you could get in and rev it and everything. It was a joke, dude. It's not real. It drives me nuts.
The question then comes down to, how long is it until that's what they have to do? I mean, the EPA is cracking down on it. CARB is now in more states than ever before.
Yes, it is.
Some of the CARB rules really truly are pushing people out of the true car options.
Okay.
They're just so strict. So the question is, when are we going to abolish CARB? I think that should happen. Just saying. It's a money grab anyway.
I mean,
so
it is a money grab, but here's the real truth of it, right? Is the emperor has no clothes, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we've started to see that the materials that are needed to build an electric car are expensive to get. They're hard to manufacture, and they're called rare earth materials for a reason, right? The electric car network isn't set up to maintain an all electric fleet. It's just not.
Yeah.
We don't have the grid to maintain an all electric fleet. And oh, by the way, Tesla just laid off all their supercharger engineers and said, we're going to focus on maintaining the current grid. We're not going to focus on building new superchargers. What does that tell you?
Well, the other part too is the government's pumping so much money into these chargers, and you go to any one of them, they don't work. It's not set up correctly. Tesla's the only one that kind of figured it out to a point that they're decent. They can get you there, all of that. But
so yes and no. There's people complaining that Tesla has to pay them a lease. Basically, they're paying them rent to have their chargers on their property, right?
Correct. Yep.
There's people complaining that Tesla's not paying for their chargers, and they're bagging these chargers up so people can't get to them, right?
Wow.
Well, the problem is they're still on people's charging maps, right? So if you're planning a trip and you're going to this charger, oh, by the way, the people that are doing these charging, trips or whatever, and they're planning their charges along the way, I've never seen a more entitled group of people in my life. Because if a charger shows up on the map, they think that they have the right to use it.
Yeah.
A friend of mine actually manages a property, and they're closed on the weekends. They have a couple charging stations, but they're closed. This lady flipped out on him and was like, I need to charge my car. I'm almost dead, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, look, not only is the parking lot not open, but our charger's broken. So it doesn't matter,
Sounds like they're a product to the system, if you will.
Yeah. But the thing I learned the other day, though, is I don't know if you know this, because neither one of us own an electric car for good reason,
right? And so we are very biased.
We are biased.
Let's put that out there for the audience.
No, we are biased,
and you don't like this conversation. Tell me why.
We are biased, and to be fair, I do see value in having an electric car as like a secondary vehicle where I'm taking my son to school, I'm running errands in it, and I'm plugging it in overnight, right? I could see that versus, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to buy a F-150 Lightning and drive it to Birmingham, Alabama to do a track day. It won't make it. It won't make it pulling the trailer. It just won't, right? But I found out the other day, so if you've got one charging station and you got a parking spot on either side of it, right? If you go and park on, let's say the left side, and you park on the right side, you're not getting the full power from that charging station. You have to skip a spot so that each person is on their own individual charging station.
Oh, so if
right?
two people are on one station,
It
it's
takes
like a
twice as long.
D-race.
It takes twice as
Wow.
long to charge it.
So when everybody's parked there at one time,
Yeah,
everybody's
they're not getting a
screwed,
full charge.
basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean-
and Tesla just opened up and said, "Hey, we're going to allow more people to use our charging system, if you will,
Yeah,
right?" So just
now they're
like
just gonna maintain it.
Apple moved over to the
Wow.
USB-C, right? They're
Yeah.
they're letting people move over to the charging plug from Tesla.
Right.
And essentially they're just going to maintain the system they have. But Tesla's been claiming all kinds of losses this year. And
Yep.
here's what doesn't make sense to me. So from an electric standpoint, and I've said this before, I see value in the hybrid setup because from a hybrid engine standpoint, mild hybrid,
Does
right?
both.
You can close the gap on performance. So you take away the turbo lag or that gap. You get instant acceleration, instant power. You get longer range, right?
Right.
But you don't have to plug in. You're not reliant on electricity, right?
Right.
You're using the existing infrastructure to be able to run that car, and it makes sense. And
Right.
to be honest with you, I really think we need to invest more in that type of technology rather than saying let's rip and replace everything, right?
I think most consumers agree. And
Yeah.
that's the crazy part. Like, originally it was, everything's going to go away. We're losing all gas engines, just hang it up. And by 2030, you can hang it up. We're just going to have electric cars on the
Yep.
road. And y'all better get ready for it, And now it's like everybody's changing their tone. Manufacturers.
But that's exactly right, right?
Everybody.
So you're seeing right now more and more manufacturers, right, that are saying, hey, we're focusing on electricity, that they've kind of walked that back. Look at what Aston just did. Aston came out and said, we're going to keep making combustion vehicles until they make it illegal to make them.
Exactly. And
right?
I'm really curious with the new Porsche coming up, and Porsche is known for their motors, man. And they're known for that platform.
Yeah.
And it's track guys, man. We're not talking about like your normal guy that buys a Porsche. I mean, a lot of people track their Porsches.
Could you see a 911 in an all electric?
No. And I don't see that being something we want, right?
I don't either.
And I don't see it selling. And that'll be the first time ever that Porsche just dives in sales. I mean, look, they should
look around. How many of the
look at the Taycan.
Yeah, I was about to say, how many Taycans do you see running around on the road?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one we had at work sat there bricked for like a long time because they couldn't charge it. The charger was literally not taking a charge.
I didn't tell you. So when I went to look at that Chevy Colorado over the weekend, right? The Chevy dealer and the GMC dealer share a parking lot, right?
Okay.
So in the GMC dealer, what do they got? About 7 Hummers, right?
Oh, the EVs.
A couple of the trucks and a few of the SUVs.
Right.
Now I didn't realize that the truck, if you will, the one with the little bed, right?
Right.
That one was like $100,000 when it came out, right?
Yeah.
The SUV is like closer to 160.
What?
And really the only cool thing about that vehicle is it's got that crab walk feature on it, which is
a massive truck too.
It's big. It's really
big.
A
massive truck.
Yeah.
Like I look at some of the parking spots that I get, my truck in, and I'm like, dang, imagine this Hummer EV, dude. It's almost, I feel like it's like 1.5 size width of my truck.
It's a big,
and it may not be.
Vehicle.
It just has that visual,
But I said to the guy at the dealership, I said, remember when you guys had a waiting list of people wanting to get this vehicle, and now you got 7 of them sitting here? He's like, yeah, we got nobody on them. Like nobody's even asking about them right now.
Dude, I think overall the market of high dollar cars is down.
Yes.
I mean, overall, anything 70, 80 plus it's down.
Yeah.
A lot.
But I mean, think about it, right? So we were talking about this the other day.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I remember thinking to myself, I'll never have a car more than $20,000. Right. That was kind of like, I was like, oh my God, $20,000. That's like $400 a month on a payment. That's insane.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine spending that kind of money. Right.
Exactly.
And my dad and I were having lunch a couple weeks ago, and we're sitting at this table, and like a couple of cars ran by, and one of them was a Ferrari. The other one was a a Porsche, and I was talking to my dad, and I said, it's crazy because a well-equipped F-150 Raptor's $100,000,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if you look at a really nice BMW X5M competition, they're over $100,000, right? I mean, the thing is, $100,000 used to almost feel like unobtainium,
Yeah.
and now it almost feels like the norm to get into some of these luxury brands.
Dude, I feel like instantly, like the second I make a little bit of money, now it ain't worth nearly as much as it was. I'm still
No,
just as
I mean,
broke as I was
you're not
before.
wrong. You're not wrong. But I
You know?
mean, so I don't know if you saw Ford's recent commercial, but
I didn't.
they have got basically the commercial that they have is that we have a solution for all types, right? We've got
Right.
a hybrid, we have a gas, and we have an electric, right?
Okay.
However you want to get it. But I mean, if you look at Ford, Ford was taking an L on every electric vehicle that they were selling.
Also, they invested billions of dollars to take that L.
So
Billions.
be aware, right, that Ford invested what was it? I mean, a billion dollars, I think it was,
It was a
in
billion, I believe.
Rivian,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. And they're
right?
doing
So Ford
horrible.
invested in Rivian,
Yeah.
and Amazon invested in Rivian. Now, if you are an Amazon customer and you've seen those trucks driving around, those are Rivian vehicles, right?
I didn't know
So
that.
that have you seen the ones that have like the circle headlights and they kind
Yeah.
of look like a
I didn't know they were made by Rivian.
that's a Rivian, right?
Yeah.
And I will tell you that is the perfect use case for an electric vehicle. Short haul stuff,
Yeah.
multiple stops, right? And I mean that's the perfect use case for them because you're
Right.
not going to do 100, 200, 300 miles a day, right? You're basically just driving around a set area and
Yeah.
making drop-offs.
Right.
But you know what? There's been 4 or 5 of them that have been by the side of the road in my neighborhood,
Oh, yeah.
so they're
Wow.
not flawless by any means. I mean, I think Rivian, as far as electric vehicles go, I think Rivian's probably one of the better looking
I haven't
electric
driven
vehicles
one.
out there. I drove one when they first came out. I drove the pickup
Yeah.
truck.
Okay.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
The one thing that Rivian did that I didn't like that Tesla does is for some reason the world at large said Apple CarPlay and Android Auto just, it makes everything so easy, right?
Agreed.
For some reason, Tesla said, no, we're going to do
We
our
can do it
own
better.
system. We can do it better, right?
Right.
And Rivian did the same thing.
Yeah.
They don't offer an option to do Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And now you're
Kind of.
seeing companies that are putting very little effort into their into their standard equipment and
Yeah.
basically relying on you to bring your phone with you because everybody's got a
Right.
phone,
I'll be honest though, like I kind of like that I have different options. Like I get in one car and it's got a Apple or Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and then I get in another one and it's totally different. But I like
Yeah.
that because, to an extent, because it makes the car feel different. But that's kind of what I'm driving the car for is that different feeling.
Right.
But if everything I owned had Android Auto, right, it's the exact same, the exact same, the exact same, the exact same. It's like this is kind of lame,
I mean, I will say that 10 out of 10 times I start up that Aston Martin and guess what works every time? Bluetooth.
Yeah,
Every
Bluetooth's
time.
good. Yeah.
Bluetooth works every
The
time.
Maserati, not so much. It's hit or
No,
miss.
sometimes I'll get in the BMW and it won't connect to the Apple CarPlay or it'll be all finicky or something,
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
that Aston works every time. But I mean,
Yep.
just from an electric standpoint, I mean, I don't want to continue to do episodes bashing EV vehicles, right?
Yeah.
To each their own. I mean, it is,
Right.
whatever
Maybe we
you
need to
guys.
buy an electric vehicle and try it, and just try to do a road trip in it and see if it sucks
Let's go
that
in
bad.
together. So I've already told my road trip story in that electric vehicle where I almost killed myself. And
Look, man,
that range anxiety is a real thing.
I've been eyeing Teslas, man. I mean, you can get a used Tesla in the 20s.
Yeah.
I
What
know
does
there's
that
a
feel
reason
like?
behind it. I know there's a reason behind it, but I don't know, man. I've bought a lot of cheap cars and I enjoy cheap cars.
Man,
And
I just
so,
talked to
you
a
know,
friend the other day who had bought a Tesla when they first came out. She bought a Model X, paid
yeah,
$100,000,
how
right?
upside down is she in that car?
She says it's worth about 20 grand or 30 grand right now. So she lost what, 70, 60 grand on it, whatever, right? She
Yeah.
lost mad money on that car, over 50%, right? She was
Jesus.
showing me she's got the yoke steering wheel in hers,
Yeah. I don't like it.
it's all rubbed away
Yeah.
and there's no solution for it, right? It's just the
Buy new steering
material's
wheel.
rubbed away, right? And then, well, if you go on Amazon and you go on eBay, they sell those steering wheels like they're
Yeah.
nothing, you
Yeah,
know.
it's nothing to it.
She's got electrical tape holding on some of the pieces on the side of her car because
Oh my gosh. The
the
trim?
the trim piece on the fender
Yeah.
doesn't want to stay, and
Wow.
they don't have a fix for it at the
So
moment.
so hold on, a $100,000 car,
Mhm.
and she's got electrical tape holding it together right now.
I mean, let's not be hypocritical, right? I know people that have $200,000 McLarens that are in the shop for dumb stuff, right?
Yeah, okay.
So,
Fair enough.
I mean, just
And,
just
you know,
because just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's going to work.
it the question though, I mean, because obviously this is the first time we've seen Teslas take this big a dip, right? Is
Well,
that the bottom?
they took a big dip what last year before. You know what was really hilarious about that was they took a huge dip and their customer base got pissed and they
Yeah.
turned around. They said, well, I want a refund. I want a discount. That's not how life works, man.
That's
If
not life,
if
right?
if you bought an F-150 today or bought a Ram today and
Yeah,
it went and they increased it $10,000,
yeah.
should you pay an extra 10 grand for that truck? No, that's not
No,
what you
absolutely.
paid for it when you bought it is how
Yeah.
much it was worth when you bought it. I'm
I
sorry.
think I think a lot of people are getting that, that back to reality of finding out that, hey, like, I bought these cars and, yeah, now they're worth less. That's the
Yeah.
first time for some people. You know what I mean?
But
Some people have bought cars and sold cars. They were buying Teslas just to buy them and flip them.
yep.
And now it's like the flip game's kinda over with cars, like, in all classes.
Yeah,
So,
it
you
seems to
know
be getting that way. I mean, I was talking to some people that were getting like over MSRP on just about everything. And I
right.
was talking to somebody the other day and they said, "Oh, we're getting, 4 grand over, 5 grand over." I
Yeah,
mean, that's still not good, but it used to be
right.
20, which was
Yeah.
crazy, you know?
But
But I will say I talked to somebody yesterday who had bought a Tesla and I was kind of giving her a hard time and I said, "Man, I'm just disappointed in you." And she's like, "Look, I plug it in at night. I pay like $1 a day to drive it. It's on a
yeah,
lease. I'm paying less on my lease than I was paying on this other car." She's like, "I don't really care about the quality of the vehicle." She's like,
right.
everything I do is local, right?" And
It's
I said, "I get it." And she said, "Well, my daughter's got a car too. She's got a Ford Fiesta or something."
okay.
And I said, "Okay, so if everything goes, if we have a power outage next week and
You've got
you
a way.
can't, yeah, you've got a way, right?"
Yeah,
So, I get it in her specific situation.
right.
I joked I mean, I was, half serious, but when I bought my Roush, I bought it with really low miles on it. In
Right.
the spec I bought it was one of one,
Okay.
and it was, like a really cool car to me, and I really
Right.
enjoyed the car, and I had thought about getting like an i3 just to do like around town stuff and keep the miles off of
Not
the
interested.
Roush. Huh?
Not interested.
Oh, I didn't end up buying it. I drove it one time and I was like, "I'm good."
Yeah.
I'm
Now
out.
look, I'll say this,
I'm
man, like,
out.
if I could get, like, a 2020 or a 21 Tesla for less, like 20 grand, like, dude, that's good money. I
Okay,
think
get one.
I might do it. We'll
Get
see.
one. Let's
We'll
see what
see.
happens.
See what the future holds.
I mean, we've had
Yeah.
somebody on this show recently who had bought a Tesla.
Right.
And if you think about it, he's driving like 40 miles one way to work every day,
Yeah.
and in a gas car that gets expensive quick, right?
Absolutely. Well,
I
and the
I
cars we
get it.
like and he
I get
likes,
it.
same
Yep,
thing.
no, he does.
Okay.
I get it, but that's not his only car, right?
Right.
But I think, we started top of the show talking about Dodge, and I want to kind of end it on that same note.
Right.
I think the reason why I'm so irritated, why we started off this episode so irritated, is because whether you like Dodge or don't like Dodge, they were always the muscle car brand.
Yep.
It was
They
the
were the
car,
car guy's
that
car.
you thought you thought for sure that somebody was going to try and shove a Hellcat into a minivan,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it was just, it was whether you think they're obnoxious or you think that they're super cool.
Yeah.
It was the last true, over the top
American
obnoxious muscle car,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And now they're doubling down, and I think it's kind of crazy because they're doubling down in a market that is basically told them,
It's
hey,
written it off.
we're not ready. We're not
Yeah.
ready to go 100% electric, right?
Right. So
And
supposedly they do have that car with the gas engine, if you remember the end of it.
they do, but it's like a 4-cylinder or something.
Yeah. Look, I didn't say it was a good gas engine.
Right?
But
It's not a Hellcat motor.
they haven't
It's not a Demon or a Red Eye motor.
They haven't fully gotten rid of it yet, and I don't think they will. I think that this is gonna be their Halo thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but answer me this. Why not build a EV vehicle,
Right.
right? Hell, even
Beside everything else. Yeah.
bring back the 300, right?
Yeah.
Build an EV vehicle that is hitting that spot in the marketplace.
Yeah.
Why take away your two best-selling cars? There's probably more Challengers and Chargers out there than there are any other car I can think of. I mean, you get every time you come to Atlanta, you get buzzed by like 5 of them.
I do. I don't know what I do, man. I'm just riding. They buzz the tower every time.
But I mean, that's the thing. And so, we'll kind of wrap the episode up, but at the end of the day, let me hear what you have to say. Do you agree with us that they should have come out with an independent vehicle, outside of the Challenger and Charger? Or, are we off base here? Was the Challenger and the Charger the car that was going to get the rest of the market interested in it? Because I think that's the only reason that you do that.
Right.
You take the most recognizable car in the brand, and you say, we're going to go EV on it. And then you hope that same following backs it.
Or they could have done a hybrid. Just saying.
I mean, they
would have been a better option.
They
hybrid with a cool motor. That would have been cool. Anyways, let us know in the comments what you guys think. This is 2CarGuys signing off. Y'all have a great day.